Now, Lonel is a senior political analyst at Oxford Economics. We spoke a few hours ago. I started our conversation by asking him if the DA's argument about hypocrisy from the African National Congress have merits to them.
No, absolutely, and it's not just Minister Nkabane. Nkabane is the most recent example, and it is a rather egregious thing that she did. She came and she effectively lied to members of Parliament in committee. She also really was incredibly arrogant and flippant in her interactions with the Portfolio Committee, and so it was quite an egregious offence. There are other ministers that have been accused of very serious wrongdoing, and even thinking back to the previous Parliament, ministers that were implicated in the Zondo Commission looking at state capture, and no action was taken against these individuals. And so it does feel hypocritical. Yes, Mr. Whitfield also says that he acknowledged that his fault and he had written to Mr. Ramaphosa to apologize and to make his case. That was also in today's statement, saying that Mr. Whitfield had acknowledged his guilt. But I mean, the DA does make a very good point. There are ministers that have made themselves guilty of misconduct, but also of just rank incompetence, but somehow have managed to survive and have even been reappointed to cabinet.
What are the DA's options at this point? Now that Andrew Whitfield is out of cabinet, I know that at some point the president had reached out to the DA party leader and said, look, I'm dropping Andrew, nominate someone and will essentially keep that position within the DA.
Yes, you'll recall last year, I think it was June 20th is when Mr. Ramaphosa announced his cabinet. And there was some unhappiness from the DA at that point because they felt they were underrepresented in cabinet. It is an enormous cabinet, it's 34 ministers and more than 40 deputies. And out of that, the DA got 6 ministers and 6 deputy ministers, which, considering that they got... or that they occupy about 30% of the GNU seats in Parliament, it is an underrepresentation. They accepted it at the time because, well, they didn't have much of a choice. And so in the statement itself today, Ramaphosa also reminded us that he told Mr. Steenhuisen, please nominate someone to replace Mr. Whitfield. So that position, that slot is being kept open for you. You just need to give me a name for consideration. But I listened to the DA spokesperson earlier today, and they said that they were not going to do that. They're digging in their heels. They're digging in their heels for Mr. Whitfield, and I guess on principle. Mr. Whitfield is fairly senior in the DA. He is their provincial leader in the Eastern Cape. He's been in the mix a very long time. He's a long-serving MP. He's a good man, and by all accounts, he's been efficient and hardworking in the Department of Trade. But yeah, I think the door has been left open for the DA to nominate someone else, to take it on the chin and just send another deployee. But they might feel that the way this whole situation has been handled and the way they've been, what they would suggest, mistreated, is the problem here. Mr. Steenhuisen used to call it a concerted attack on the coalition government. And so he's reading more into this than just a matter of an errant minister being dismissed.
Do you reckon the ANC sort of has overplayed its hand here? Because, it doesn't have the majority it used to have in Parliament. So the free hand that they used to have to, decide who's in cabinet, who's not, that's essentially gone. And even though at face value, it looks like this was a sort of face-saving, semi-off-ramp measure telling the DA, yes, we've removed Andrew, but you can nominate someone else. But given all the arguments that the DA has, and frankly, anyone else in South Africa's parliament could make about questions around impropriety, improper conduct of ministers, corruption, and so on and so forth, do you think the ANC overplayed their hand?
But the whole situation is rather curious. If you think about it on the fact that this offence supposedly took place in March, we now find ourselves in June, so some time has passed. We just coming off the back of this budget dispute, which seemed at some point like it might actually cause the GNU to split up. The ANC was looking for alternatives during that budget process when the DA and the Freedom Front Plus then dissented and refused to vote for the budget that was before Parliament at that time. And they then went in search of in search of support outside the coalition. You'll recall Action SA, Build One South Africa, 2 non-GNU parties ended up voting with those parties to get the fiscal framework passed. But then afterwards, the situation was de-escalated. Partners seemed to find each other during a parliamentary recess, which was a good call, and then came back, accepted the new fiscal framework. Then this week, the Division of Revenue Bill was being tabled in Parliament. It's a crucial part of the budget process for them to have decided on Wednesday to fire Mr. Whitfield, knowing that they needed the DA on Thursday to pass the DORA bill is kind of extraordinary. And it doesn't really make sense, which I think is maybe one of the reasons why a lot of people thinking that there's more to this than just the fact that Mr. Whitfield erred. The timing doesn't make sense.